auto coding is really required if we have a huge database with us and we want to so we want the software to come up with basic coding, basic themes automatically, so that we can always refine and review those themes later on. But to start with, we ask the software to come up with the themes automatically so that we can later on refine these themes. And when the data is very huge, it's very difficult to go through manually directly. Right. So let me start with by manual coding all these, sorry, auto coding all these interviews. So I will select all these together. I click on it, and when we right click, this option of auto code. Right. So this is the auto code wizard. So there are different options available here: identify themes, identify sentiment, speaker name, style or structure, and use existing coding patterns. Right. So let me start with the first thing is the identify themes. Right. So so as the name suggests, it will automatically start identifying themes out of all these interviews or all your data. Use it so according to the word frequency, the most frequent words, they will be clubbed together and will be brought out in a theme. So I click next. So it is identifying themes. So these are the themes it has identified according to the word frequency, and every theme has sub themes under also in it, right? So these are sub themes under it. So it all depends on the researcher with themes he wants to keep. He can always uncheck the themes which the researcher doesn't want. So I'm keeping all these themes now, right? And I click next. So I say I want to code sentences only, not code paragraphs. If we code paragraphs, it will take a whole paragraph. If we code sentence, it will take only a sentence of that specific theme. So let's say we want to code paragraph, keep on code paragraph. Next, and it's asked where you want it to be saved. So I'm saving it under codes by the name of auto coded themes. Right? I click finish. So as you can see from this, or by default, some visualizations for tables comes out after we run auto coding themes. So these are so for each of these interviews, it is showing the number of references for each of these themes, right? From each of the interview, you can see from Barbara for area, there's one reference. So you can see, and you can always double click on any specific cell. It will show you the reference behind it. Say what Barbara is saying about environment, what has been coded here. You can click on this. It will show you the reference behind it. So it will go directly, right? So this is the way it is. So one reference is this, and summary. Then the second visualization is this a tree map. So each theme has been divided into sub themes. You can see the bigger the theme is, the more reference one theme has, it is in bigger rectangle. So you can see this as if you want to say specifically look for fishing or development, say development, you can double click on it, it will show for development only, right? So you can see these are the sub themes under it. So this is the visualization which comes up. Right? So I will just close this now, and I will go to the themes where it has been saved. So as we said, saved it into code. So these are the themes which the software has identified automatically. Right? So the area, all these things has been identified by the software. So this, as I said, these are all basic themes, right? So you can always you should review and refine these themes. So you can keep on adding more data to it. You can also remove certain data to it. You can also merge certain themes also. Say you want to let's say you want to quality and planning, you want to merge. So you can just cut this quality theme directly from here and click on planning and merge into selected node, right? So all these things I'm going to copy. So you can see planning has now the data merged now quality also. So you can keep on doing, and you can always rename these themes also. You can go to properties, just a minute, code properties, and you can always name whatever the name. So you can keep on changing names as your research progresses. So you can keep on doing all these things so to ultimately refine your themes further. So this is how we work with auto coding, identifying themes. So let's start with now. So we'll take the same data and identify sentiments. The second option was sentiments. So I'm just selecting all these things together. And you can auto code. There's the option of identify sentiment, and the name suggests it finds out the sentiments for you, positive, negative, and neutral sentiments of your in your interviews, in your data automatically. So I will click on identify sentiment. Next. So again, I say code paragraphs, and it will start identifying sentiments according to you. So it takes the word meanings, a word meaning, and brings out the sentiment analysis for you. Right, so you can see from here, this is again the same kind of table, but with these very negative, moderately negative, all the references are, number of references are mentioned in the cells for each of these files or sources. And again, same kind of tree map. So you can see from each of the thing, like Barbara is most of the time neutral. So you can see who is most of the time more negative or more positive. So you can always bring on more. So if you want to see for a specific person, you can click on Charles. It will show again neutral, positive. So he's saying quite of 6 references are of positive, negative, right? So this is how it is. And so these are the saved sentiments automatically here. Right? So if you want to see very positive, click on it. So these are the very positive sentiments. It shows from where these references are coming from, which source. So it was the pristineness of water quality here. We are still dealing with outstanding water. So outstanding resource here. So it is quite you can say accurate. It finds out the positive, very positive, quite accurately. So it's quite helpful while doing your sentiment analysis. Again, these codes can be, you can add further data to it. You can merge some codes. You can put this, you can, in fact, you can code this data to a certain code, different code also. So you can do all kind of activities here. So this is how you do the sentiment analysis in auto coding. Okay. Now if we go to, again, to files. So there's an option of, so if we say, if we go to this, if you go to if you open a Barba's interview, so as when I showed you the cases, creating cases manually, there's the option of creating cases automatically from your interview sources of your file sources directly using autocode. So let me show you how. So let's say we open Barba's interview and we auto-code it. So what we can do is, so we can select speaker name, and then we can basically create different files or different cases for different speakers who are speaking in the interview. Let's say we click next, and so enter speaker. So we have one speaker, Barbara, right? I think Asia. So you can see it has highlighted all the Barbara's part. Right now it's also highlighting Henry also. So we need to add one more speaker, Henry. So if you have multiple speaker, you can click on, you can keep on adding multiple speakers name, and it will identify the content for each of these speakers, right? So let me not add Barbara, because Barbara we've already created one case. So let me go with Charles file. So this is Charles file. So Linda is asking questions and Charles is responding. So I will just click on auto code and add speaker name. Next. So one speaker is Charles. Okay. And then, so it's processing this minute. Charles is identified, then Linda. So we can say Linda. So there are two speakers. So we are putting, if you have multiple speakers, you can add more speakers. So it will automatically create cases with their specific content in it. So let's say we click next. So if we want to create a new classification, we can create a new classification. So let's say let's create a new classification by the name of person, right? And we want to save it under cases only, so finish. So if we go to cases now, so you can see we have automatically created these cases now. You can see, right? So if you open Charles, it will only have Charles responses, and which we are interested in. We don't want questions because this is all questions asked by Linda, so we don't want these things. So, so these are Linda. So we can delete this case. We don't want this case, right? So we can delete this thing. By mistake, I created Charles also. So anyways, so this is a we can create different segregations of cases. So automatically we can use speaker using speaker name. We can divide our content. So say you have a focus group interviews with 3 or 4 speakers. You can automatically create cases with their responses in different files. So this is how you can do the automatic segregation of the responses. Next option is according to auto-coding according to the paragraph styles. So this is used when we have interviews which are basically we have defined the paragraph styles in the interview. So if you know, we can do it in the MX office also. We can create paragraph heading style 1, heading style 2. So if you see our interviews in this the sample project data which we are interviews which we are using right now. So if you go to Barbara's interview, or say from Charles interview, and click on edit, so by default it comes up. So you can see every question one is so question one is heading 1, right? So question all the questions are heading 1. So this is question 1, and this is question 2 is again heading 1, and other data is coded as not there's no paragraph style under it, right? So these are not paragraph styles, but every question is paragraph styled as question, heading 1. So you can see that this is again heading 1. Even for Charles interview, no, it's not coming here. So we can always put in heading 1. Yeah, it's heading 1. It's also heading 1, right? So you can see this is a paragraph style given to the question. So you can create questionnaires this way, create a template with heading 1 for all the questions or and answers you can put in. So we create a template and have your interviews this way. So when say we select all these files together and right click on it and again auto code, and we say use the style or structure, click next, and say paragraph styles, next. So we want heading 1. So what it will do is so these are the available paragraph styles into heading 1, heading 2, interviewer, normal. So as all the questions are heading 1, so we want all the questions to be created as codes, right? And all the responses for all the interviews will come under those questions. So let me show you. So click heading 1, next, and use existing code is so location, say so new code case, and under codes name we say uh, auto coding paragraph, finish. It has been created auto coding paragraph. So you can see all the questions has been created as codes, and every question will have the responses for all of those interviews, right? So starting from Henry, Barbara, right? Henry, this is about from Barbara's part. Then the second part is from Charles. Question 1, all the question 1 responses are under it. Right? So this is how you can create, using this paragraph style, you can create different codes for your questions. So this will help you in if you have a questionnaire, same type of questionnaire with headings for different interviews, you can use that. Right? So the last part in the auto coding is, so for that, what I will do is I will just close this thing and I will open the sample project, which is in like the example project in NVivo software. So this comes every time we open. We can always skip the tour. And in this, the coding has already been done. And if you see the last option in auto coding is, so I'm going to the interview files again. And if you see the option which is available in auto coding is use existing coding or patterns, right? So what it means is, say you have 100 interviews, just for example. So what you can do is you can do manual coding on 10% of your data, that is 10 interviews, and then 90% for the next 90% you can ask the software to replicate the same type of coding for the balance left interviews. So what I can do for you is, how I will show is, what I will do is I will remove say 3 4 files from here. So these are already been coded. You can see that Suzanne, Thomas, and William has been coded before. So I will delete these files so that we bring in them again, and there's no coding on these files. Just to show you, I've deleted all these files. What I will do is I will import these files together once more. So these were the files which we deleted. So I'm importing these files once more, and I will import it inside NVivo. So you can see right now these files have been imported fresh, and there are no codings done uh, on these files. So before there was manual coding which was done on these files. I've removed those codings. So it's fresh file and there's no coding done on that. Now, if you want the software to do coding on Suzanne using the coding done on the previous files, these files, right? So what we can do is you can click on Suzanne, go to auto code, and use existing coding patterns, right? And click next, and you select the codes relations to code 2. So where do you want to code? So let's select the codes where we want coding to be done on Suzanne's interview. So let's say we want to code under attitude, balance, community change, economy, infrastructure. Let's keep these files only, right? And click OK, right? And then select the files on which we want to base the coding, right? So let's keep the files, all the interviews which were already there. So let's say we have done manual coding on these files. We want to do the same kind of coding which is done on these files on Suzanne's interview. So we can keep any number of things. So I'm just trying to show, let's keep this many only, right? And click OK. And how much coding would you like to create? So we keep it at middle and click next. So it's creating coding patterns using so it has 7 counts where no issues have been detected. Some insufficient coding is there, in inconsistent vocabulary, but there are some coding which has been done for 7 counts. So we can click next, and we want to say codes in paragraphs, and we finish it. So you can see, so if you see Suzanne's interview now, there are 5 codes from there and 31 references which has been done there. So if you open Suzanne's and by default this comes up. So it has coded 6 references for codes, community, changes, economy, fishing, 5, all these things it shows there, right? So it has coded into 3 different codes. By for other, maybe it did not find any data relevant to those codes, so that it has not coded there. If you open Susan's interview, and previously there was no codes, but if you want to see the codes now which has been coded here, you can see the stripes also. So 1 2 3